We had an absolutely wild session today in the stock market, and these kinds of moves don't happen too often. So today we're going to be analyzing what this move could mean for the stock market going forward. Let's just dive right into it. This is the S&P 500 chart for the day, and if you can't tell, in the morning, as you can see, we were extremely green. And this is a green that we haven't seen in a very long time. We were actually up 4.5% at the peak of it, which is just crazy to think about. That would have been the best day for the S&P since I believe June of 2022, and it was looking great. And eventually what happened was we just started selling off. This kind of happened around 10:30, which is the usual time for the sell-off. And we really just continued a downtrend for the whole day, and then here it was kind of looking like we were going to close out flat, but we actually went way lower and we closed deep in the red. And now what is causing this? Now, look, there's been a lot of crazy stuff going on with the Trump tariffs, and obviously the market has been completely wiped out of all of its gains for 2024. And as you can see, we are down 15% year to date. So it is obviously a super volatile environment. Here you can actually see the VIX, which is the volatility implied index, was up 11% today. It is at 50, and this is the highest level for the VIX since COVID. And that just shows that the market is super volatile right now, and really we're getting these huge moves, and it's completely normal when the VIX is this high. And what's causing the VIX to get this high is all the uncertainty around the Trump administration. Obviously, Trump is not very clear when it comes to his tariff policies, and we kind of are forced to speculate on what he's going to do next, and that's never a good thing. The stock market doesn't like speculating, or it doesn't like uncertainty. It wants everything to be clear, and that's why we're seeing the VIX spike up to these levels. Just to kind of show you a comparison, this is the max time chart for the VIX. The only time we've gone this high for an extended period of time was COVID and 2008. And obviously both of those were tragic times, and stock market was crashing back then. In COVID, it was actually a very quick recovery once we kind of realized that COVID wasn't the end of the world like we thought it was. And 2008 took a bit of time to recover from that, but ultimately we ended up being fine. And now the VIX is actually here for the first time since both of those events. And now, anyway, how does that tie with this movement that we got today? So obviously 4.5%, that's no ordinary pump. But when the VIX is at 50 and you have this kind of environment with the volatile Trump administration, these moves are actually pretty normal. And and then obviously losing all of it is also normal. And now the reason we lost all of it is because I think the reason we pumped in the first place is because we thought that potentially the 104% tariffs that Trump is threatening China with would be fake. And unfortunately, that proved not to be the case. Now, another thing is we thought that today we were going to hear a lot of deals from Trump with other countries and how they're dealing with the tariffs, and perhaps that would have been bullish for the stock market and our economy if we can kind of get some of the tariff fears out of the way. But yeah, basically throughout the whole day, we didn't get anything at all. And to me, this S&P chart is kind of like a ticking bomb. And with each, 5 minutes that we don't get any new deals or new announcements, we just go down and down and down. And then around here, around 3, this is when we got the confirmation that we are indeed putting 100% tariffs on China, which, yeah, it just sent the markets way lower, and the S&P was actually down 3% at one point, which is a 7% intraday swing, or maybe even more. I might be miscalculating it, but it is the biggest move intraday since 2008. So yeah, it just shows you that we have some volatile times right now. we did get somewhat of a bounce at the end of the day, and we only closed down 1.5%. But yeah, I mean it's kind of brutal out here, and the other indices were obviously down as well after being up a very decent chunk in the morning. Now let's take a look at the stock screener, and this is what it looks like. In the morning, we were actually fully green. Like, I'm not even kidding, every single stock was green. I think at one point there were only 10 companies that were red, and they were red barely. So it was just looking like it was going to be an amazing day, but obviously that turned out not to be the case, and it's all because of the Trump tariffs. Now, the biggest hitters are, well, obviously Apple down 5%. That's not really normal for Apple. It's actually all the way down at 170, which is almost a 52-week low for Apple. So they're really not doing great, and it's because Apple makes their iPhones in China. That's really the simple reason. And obviously Trump wants to move manufacturing to the US, but in Apple's case, that wouldn't really work right away. It would take some time because obviously it is a lot more cheap to make your phone in China than in the US. But with these tariffs, they won't really be able to make it in China because they have to deal with 100% tariffs, which is just insane. And the way to deal with that is to raise iPhone prices. But when you do that, less people want to buy your phone. So it's just really a rough situation for Apple, and I think the only way they can kind of recover from this is if Trump gets rid of the China tariffs, and that's kind of what the whole market is hoping for at this point. Now, the semiconductors did not have a great day either. The only two that are holding up well, in my opinion, are Nvidia and Broadcom. Broadcom is actually green. They did have a share buyback yesterday, uh, in which they are buying back. I forgot how much, but I believe around 10 billion of their stock. And basically, it's not really a bad thing, but it's not really a great thing either. It's just kind of whatever. But yeah, sometimes when your company stock price goes down like 40%, like in Broadcom's case, the CEO comes in and buys some shares, and that's what the Broadcom CEO is doing in this case. But AMD, Texas Instruments, Qualcomm, they're all taking it on the chin today, and it's all because of tariffs as well. Um, and although Trump did exclude semiconductors from the tariffs, he could definitely bring them back at some point, and it's just a matter of time, really. The other companies that did not do well are Amazon. Amazon, obviously, I feel like they get most of their stuff from China as well. And really, that's the case for all of these stocks. And that's the reason why we were up so much in the morning. It's because we thought that the China tariffs are going away. And that would be amazing for a lot of companies on this list. Really, most of them that do business in China. But unfortunately, we did not get that today. And as of when I'm recording this, we are going to get the official announcements of 100% tariffs in about 1 hour. And so far, there haven't been any deals made with China. No news on that. So for now, we're just kind of going into it. Yeah, with 100% tariffs. So it's pretty crazy. And actually, after hours, we were down quite a bit because Trump was giving a speech, and people thought maybe he would at least address the tariffs or consider lowering them or delaying them or something. But he didn't really talk about tariffs. He was just saying how tariffs will make our country rich again. And that might be true, but the uncertainty is still there. And obviously, 100% tariffs is something that we've never really seen before. And the last time we did see it, it ended up in the Great Depression. Now, again, I've said this in a previous video, but the S&P being up 4.5% in the morning is actually a great sign that the market is ready to go up. We are ready to start recovering some of these losses that we've had lately. And it's really all up to Trump now to get a deal with China, because then I do think that stocks will recover at least some of their gains, because the sell-off really has been brutal, and a lot of people's 401ks have gone down significantly. And you just kind of hope that at some point Trump will step in and address that, and he will try to fix the stock markets, or as he would probably say, make it great again. But in order for that to happen, he has to give us more certainty, because he could tweet something overnight, and you know now we have 200% tariffs on China. So if we could just figure out all this tariff stuff, then I do think that this market will rally, and it will rally hard. And even if we get back to like 5,500, which would be a pretty significant pump from here, about 10%, I believe, we are still way off the highs. We wouldn't even be here, and that's April 2nd. That's when he announced his tariffs, and we were at around 5,700 on the S&P. We wouldn't even be there if we went up 10% from here. So just shows that we really have done a lot of damage in terms of the S&P 500, and it will take some time to recover it. Obviously, it'll take some real efforts, basically. But there aren't really any buyers right now, because people are waiting for Trump to figure stuff out with his tariffs. And until that gets done, I don't think we're gonna go anywhere on the S&P. We're just gonna continue going down. I think there is a world where, worst case scenario, we get to 4,500 or something like that. That's like another 10% down from here. And it kind of sucks to think about, but I mean, it's true, because 100% tariffs with like no further explanation, it's kind of rough. So anyway, I'll keep you guys updated on that. But all right, that's probably gonna do it for this video. If you made it this far, then make sure to comment how long do you think the Trump 100% tariffs on China will last for, whether it's a week or a month or as full 4 years or even just a day. Let me know down in the comments. I'd be interested to hear your guys' thoughts on this. And yeah, we're going to keep covering the stock markets, and hopefully we get some nice deals announced tomorrow and we can kind of recover from here. But yeah, that's going to do it. See you tomorrow.